The Hindustan Times reported that Ajit Doval, the NSA, told his American counterpart that he believed Pannu is a CIA asset. Thank you, Mr. Dulat, for joining us. Are you able to make sense of what's happening? We now have 5 Indian American lawmakers being given a classified briefing by the Biden administration in the last few hours. At the end of it, they issue a very, very strongly worded statement and they emphasize that Indian government officials must be held to account. How do you understand what's happening? Why are the Americans investing this much energy, this much attention in this particular case?
It's a very complex thing. I don't think the last word, we've heard the last word on it because I don't think anybody knows enough. It's all in the realm of speculation. But obviously, the Americans are conveying a message, and I think the message has been understood here. And I think the basic message is that we don't want to have a repeat of whatever has happened. My take on this from the beginning, when the Canadians complained was that this is not our policy. We don't do these things. I don't know how it's happening or how it's come about now. I myself am intrigued. But if what the Americans are saying is true, is correct, then obviously what strikes me with whatever little experience I have is that the man at the center of it all is Nikhil Gupta, and he looks like a double agent to me. Now, if our NSA says that Pannu is a CIA agent, it could well be. Why not? After all, we've seen what all he said in recent times, and he's only said this because he has the support of the Americans. He said they will blow up Air India planes, they will attack Parliament. This kind of nonsense can't be talked unless unless you have support, whether it is the CIA or the
So hang on, Mr. Dulat, you've said two things. You've said Nikhil Gupta, the so-called intermediary, alleged to have been the man who was masterminding.
He looks like the center of it, yeah.
Okay, you believe he's a double agent. In other words, you believe he was working both for somebody in India and somebody in the US.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I think.
There's one other theory that's been offered, which is that Nikhil Gupta was basically stupid and he hired or liaised with somebody, and that person, the alleged hitman, was the undercover cop. You don't believe that. You believe Gupta himself is a double agent.
Yeah, I believe Gupta is a double agent, but even agents and double agents can be stupid. It doesn't prevent them from being stupid. Now, nobody has provided an answer to the question that this gentleman was in India. Why did he go to Prague? What took him to Prague? Unless, except that the Americans wanted him in Prague for rendition. It makes no other sense, Now, of course, his family has approached the Supreme Court. I'm told it's his children. And that their main complaint is that nobody from the embassy there came to visit him or meet him or see him. So he never got consular access,
But let's come to the person who this murder plot is alleged to be against. Gurpatwant Pannu, the lawyer for Hardeep Singh Nijjar, a man who with brazen impunity has been able to make threats from both Canadian and American soil. He holds dual citizenship of both countries. He has threatened to attack Air India planes. He has threatened Parliament. Ironically, we've been in a week where there has been a major security breach in Parliament. And the question then is, why are the Americans so interested in and investing so much energy in this one man? What do you make of it?
Well, if our NSA says he's a CIA agent, it could well be. I mean, he must have reason to say this. And I'm very clear that he has substantial support. Otherwise, he wouldn't make these statements about Parliament and about blowing up aircraft and things like that.
Why would it suit the Americans to allow him to make these statements?
because, as the Americans say, that he was being threatened. So if he's their man, they would want to protect him. I mean, that makes sense
So
because
before
you know these Khalistanis, and we are making so much of Khalistanis because there is no Khalistani issue in the Punjab. You know, that's where it all started, and there is nothing in the Punjab. I don't know why we are making so much of it. But yeah, of course, there are people in North America and in Britain who talk this kind of lingo, but they should be left alone. I don't see why we are getting so head up with what is happening in the United States or what is happening in Canada.
Well, they are making threats. These people are making threats against Indian diplomats, against Indian institutions, against Indian airlines. Imagine for a moment if somebody in India had made a threat against
Yeah,
Delta or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
United.
You're right, Barkha, but all this has happened, as I understand it, I may be wrong, post June 18 or whatever it is. We never heard of Pannu making any statements before that. It's 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 uh, it's after Niger was killed, and then the Americans said that there was a plot to kill Pannu as well. So who knows? As I say, the last word is not being heard on this whole thing, and it's a complex matter. But one thing I can tell you that obviously the Americans know much more than we think they know.
Hmm. So there's one problem that may catch up with the Indian position. At some point, somebody may turn around and say, "How can you have one position for Canada and another position for America?" Because if you look at the indictment documents carefully, they actually join the dots, right? Allegedly, where this Nikhil Gupta figure, whom you actually think is a double agent, is talking about Niger being also as someone of interest whom India may want to target. Now, if Nikhil Gupta is a double agent, then all of this could be an entrapment. All of this could be a trap.
Yeah, it could be. But the point is, whether the dots add up or not, the point is that what happened in Canada is quite different from what the Americans are now talking about.
How
Although I think
the two cases are related, aren't they?
maybe, but I thought the Canadians acted a bit sloppily, for Prime Minister Trudeau to rake up all this in his House of Commons. This is not how you deal with these matters. He had come here, he had talked to, I think, our Prime Minister, the intelligence fraternity or whatever it was, had been visiting Delhi and meeting with our intelligence officers, possibly the NSA as well. So the matter should have been sorted out across the table. You don't rake up these matters too much. And now the Americans have said that, well, we want an assurance that this won't happen again. So if it has happened, then I think the Americans have every right. In any case, the Americans are much bigger than the Canadians, so
Yeah,
should get
but
that.
you would know this, and I'm no one to say this to you, but any covert or by definition is plausible deniability always, right? You say this is not the Indian position. India doesn't do this. Uh,
No, I've never heard of it being done. No.
do you believe that this is a falsified allegation? Do you believe this is somebody gone rogue? Do you believe this is somebody acting on their own? What do you believe has
No,
actually
no,
happened?
no. This you see this question of a rogue. This is a excuse used mostly by the ISI and the Pakistanis. We've never claimed that we have rogues, and in the Indian system, it's very difficult to be a rogue, because
Yeah.
you won't be tolerated. So it's linked with our not doing these kind of things.
So you believe?
So
Do you believe the allegations are false?
no, now I'm beginning to believe there has to be truth in it. The Americans can't go so far, and we can't have five Indian American congressmen saying that we want an assurance this won't happen again.